Hello and welcome to DJ Force 10 in Conversation Podcast, episode 125. Slightly hear a little rasp there, kind of losing my voice a little doing so many of these things. But my special guests on today's show are Lewis and Luke from the band Royals. Full disclosure, first off and foremost, I do work with Lewis at my day job, so that's how we kind of know each other. It is mentioned in the podcast, so it's not going to sort of like we're not pretending not to know each other. But yeah, no, just discovered them. They sent me their latest single, which is called Out of Reach, which is actually out now. And it was great. It was good. If you like your sort of like pop punk sound, sort of State Champs, Starting Line, Yellow Card-ish sort of sounds, Newfound Glory, stuff like that, do check it out. It's a great tune. They got great back catalogue as well, so do check that out. It's available across all streaming services and whatnot. So please do. Just want to give a shout out to everyone again downloading the show and listening and actually giving me feedback, which is great. I've been listening, been reading some of the sort of like messages I've been getting, just sort of saying, checked out this band, really liked it, thank you, stuff like that. And that's what makes this worth it. If you guys can continue, because like I said, I've noticed people putting up scores and reviews and stuff. So wherever you get your podcast from, they normally have a rating system. So please, could you just knock in a rating? You don't have to write a full review if you don't want to. I just pop ratings in there. That would be absolutely fantastic if you can do that. But like I said, I have noticed people doing that, and I've got no one to shout out because it doesn't give me the names of the people doing it. If you write a review, I get the name. I can give you a shout out. But I've only got a couple of those on iTunes at the moment, and those are from a while ago, so they've already been given their shout outs. But yeah, if you guys can continue to do that, if you get a couple of minutes just to like click do it, that would be absolutely fantastic. Apart from that, again, we've got more coming up. I'm doing more sort of interviews every day, which is great, and we're going to sort of go a bit more diverse into sort of like another passion of mine, like DJ culture and stuff like that. I've got a couple of DJs lined up for some future shows, so hopefully some of you guys will be looking forward to that. But we're going to keep going with the heavy bands as well, and the sort of punk bands and all that kind of stuff. I've got a whole bunch of stuff coming up, which is absolutely amazing. Some great diverse bands and stuff like that, which is exactly what I wanted to do. So the more ratings you guys put in, the more ears listen to this show and actually discover these bands as well, which is what I want to do. This is why, I'm 125 episodes deep, so I'm pretty serious about it. It's not just something brand new I've done. I've been doing this for over 2014, I think it was maybe the first episode, or 2013. Anyway, 6 or 7 years. So it's not something I'm just kind of like getting into. I just want to start pushing that side of it now. Not interested in like advertising or anything else unless something really cool comes along. But I tried the advertising bout before with affiliate programs and stuff like that. Didn't really suit. So I just want to promote the bands. I'm doing this off my own back as well. So, any sort of like costs of producing these shows, I take into account from using my day job to do it. So my day job pays for the, this hobby, I guess, this passion, if you will. But yes, enough of my inane rambling again. But yeah, I'm going to leave you now with the guys from Royals. This is Lewis and Luke. Be well, people. For the third time. Lewis and Luke of the band Royals, welcome to my show. How are you guys doing today?
I am very good. Got a nice cup of coffee. I've got the sun shining out my window. I'm seeing it from the inside rather than the out, but things could be worse, indeed. How are you, Luke?
Yeah, no, I'm feeling good. Pretty much the same, same as I have been for the last month. Sat in the house, looking out at the sun. Thanks for having us on the show, by the way.
Oh, no problem. Absolutely my pleasure. We're here to talk about your band, Royals. And it's going to be, like I say, it's a bit more of a discovery piece for myself because I don't know too much about it. I mean, I do, just to sort of put it out there, I do work with Lewis. We do talk music.
Full disclosure.
Yeah, full disclosure. We do talk music occasionally at work, but we haven't gone into mass detail. So what I want to do is get some sort of like background on your band, like, where you came from, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, I like it.
I think, Luke, this sounds very much like a you question. My memory on the history of Royals, especially the early days, is a bit vague. So crack on.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, well, yeah. Me and Lewis used to actually be in a metal band back in the day together called Gone by Tomorrow.
Nice.
So I've known Lewis a long time. Although it didn't always. This band didn't start with us too. After Gone by Tomorrow split up, I started a little pop punk project with some other guys. That fell through, and off the back of that, I wanted to kind of keep it going, and then that became what is now Royals. I found Alex online through Facebook, just did a bit of stalking. I knew him through the local scene. Kind of pinched him out another band, but that was his choice, not mine.
Nice. I've done that before.
Same sort of thing with Will, really. I mean, Will, I found through a website called joinmyband.com. And then, to be honest, like, me and Lewis were working together at the time, and at one point I asked him if he wanted to join the band, and he was like, "Nah, I don't want to do that." and then a bit later on, a few months later, we were just kind of writing together, and I was like, "Do you want to just join the band?" And it kind of went from there. Really, it was a bit fuzzy, but that's kind of how it happened. And then, yeah, we're here where we are. Cool. We are where we are now.
Cool. You wore him down.
So your telling of the story makes me sound very non-committal. I'm really very happy.
Oh, good. Excellent. So what made you want to go from sort of metal to pop punk, kind of one extreme to another, really?
Oh, wow, that's a tough question. To be honest, for me, it was like, I've always loved both genres, and I've loved a lot of music. And I really wanted to play something that was a bit more diverse, where we could get not just fans that listen to sort of the heavier side and alternative music, but also people who maybe just listen to your ordinary pop or radio. And to stop my parents going, "Oh, what's that awful racket?"
You should hear the amount of times, like back in the days of the old band, that we'd be recording demos or something, and we'd legitimately get screams about who's strangling cats and all kinds of other things. So,
thanks, Mum.
Yeah, cheers, Luke's mum.
Yep. Always the supportive parents. It's good.
They were really supportive. Just not with. They just didn't like the music.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. It was keeping you. Well, I say keeping you out of trouble, but I don't know. So you released an EP a couple of years back called Painted Gold, which you worked with Matt O'Grady on. I was obviously reading up, but obviously he's worked with a lot of big sort of British bands and stuff like that. How did that relationship sort of happen and get on?
Well, Luke had worked with him before when he was mentioning about sort of having another pop punk project. So when it came to doing this, he was sort of our first choice, as having done metal records before. It's an entirely different world. So he was a really good person to work with. He's got so much experience, having worked with Yumi is Six. But also like heavier bands. So he's done work with like Your Demise, for example. So he's got a really good range of work. So he was a really good person for us to work with at the time.
So was he good for sort of like general input into your sort of songwriting, or did he just kind of leave you to it?
Well, I think he was definitely much more. There wasn't too much that was changed. I think by the time I got into the studio, there were some things that he was like, maybe you should think about making this better or changing this better.
Yeah,
making this better. But ultimately, that was something that we kind of that's something we kind of figured out.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think he was a massive part of the like sort of writing production side of it.
Yeah, but
he definitely like played his part when it came to like harmonies on the vocals. And just little tweaks here and there, really, more than anything. He was very impressed with sort of what we came to him with, and sort of made some notes, like Lewis said, on a couple of bits made better. But other than that, that was kind of it.
Oh, that's cool. Because I know, like, working with producers and stuff like that in the past, some of them can be very kind of hands-on, and others can just be like, get in, record, get out.
Definitely.
And from the sort of what I've heard about Matt, and obviously I've heard his work, but what I've actually heard about him as a person is he likes to sort of help bands with sort of like, making suggestions and stuff like that. And I was just sort of curious as to how in depth he gets with you guys, because I spoke to a band recently, and they were quite like, he was very involved in the sort of like restructuring of various songs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it can just depend on what his vibe on the song is, because obviously I worked with him twice, and to be honest, the first time I went to him, he was probably more involved. But being completely honest with myself, the songs just weren't as good back then. So perhaps maybe that's part of it as well. It's just depending on the quality of the content in its original state as to how much he wants to do.
Yeah, no, definitely. So with Painted Gold, how did that do for you guys? Because I've listened to it, obviously, since we sort of sorted this out, and I get, I mean, it's very sort of solid production wise, as we've just been talking about, and the songwriting is good as well. I'm not a massive sort of, like, being honest, I'm not a massive pop punk fan. I do like certain bands. And your guys, the EP was really good. I'm perfectly honest with you on that front.
Thank you, mate.
It's all right. I'm not just being nice because I work with you, Lewis.
Smoke up my ass.
I was just sort of wondering how it's done for you guys so far, because obviously you're quite, I mean, obviously you've been in bands before, but the band is still in its sort of infancy, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
What sort of reception did it get?
You got that, Lewis?
Yeah, sure. I think that the Painted Gold as an EP, I think the best way it's definitely provided us with a really good like launching platform to go from. We put out the EP before we played any shows at all.
Okay.
Because our kind of release strategy was we recorded 3 music videos before we'd even played one show, so that we could sort of continually release stuff, be playing shows, and just kind of really keep our momentum going. So we're quite fortunate in that the time that we've been playing shows, we've been it's enabled us to go on a couple of tours. It's helped encourage ourselves to we work with management now, and then when we've gone to go to new things, then it's really just sort of helped kind of launch us. Certainly I think because of how long we basically are always working on music. So, we've had new stuff in the works basically as soon as that stuff was done. So, I know certainly in my head, it's kind of, we talk about Painted Gold, but it feels like, it already feels like forever ago. But it's only kind of enabled us to do, kind of what we're planning now.
No, that's really cool. I mean, you released the track again off of it, Up All Night. You released that generally as a single, but you also did a reimagined version of that recently as well. What was the sort of like the feeling behind that? Because you kind of stripped it back a little bit, and
I mean, we wanted to basically we were at a point where we hadn't released anything for quite a long time after the EP, and I wanted to get something out before the new content, and it seems to be in at the moment. A lot of people sort of doing acoustic versions and reimagined, and kind of wanted to give it a go. And I self-produced it here at home, which was a bit of a leap for me to take, releasing something we done ourselves. But it was mainly just about getting a bit more content out, and it was the song that had done, had the most success for us so far. And we wanted to kind of close off the Painted Gold era as we take this step into what we're about to move into. To be honest,
yeah. Cool.
Yeah, Up All Night was actually the original version was the very first song that we finished as a band. So it definitely has sort of very special little place there. So cool. Kind of where it started with that, it sort of felt right to finish it with that as well. No,
that's cool. And you did we'll bring on to the cover now. Which seems to have done very well for you. Yeah. You did a Taylor Swift cover of the track. Was it Me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what was that? Tell me about that one. How did that come about? Obviously, I know pop punk is kind of peppered with a lot of like sort of pop covers and stuff like that. In fact, there is a whole bunch of series of albums that actually dedicate themselves to it, like Pump Goes Crunk and Punk Goes Pop and whatnot like that. So why that song, and how's it done for you?
Do you know what? The reason I think we ended up picking that song is we were waiting for, like a big artist to drop a new song that we could go in and record straight away and get out before anybody else. That was what we wanted to do. We wanted to be, we didn't want to go and do a song that had been done by someone else 2-3 months ago. We wanted to do something new. And Taylor Swift dropped a new song. It had Brendan Urie in it from Panic at the Disco. And my thought process, I remember saying to the guys, it's 2 big artists, it's a big song, it's going to go down well. let's just jump on it. And we just got in the studio about a week after it came out. So that was the thought process. We just wanted to do something new and get on there before it was kind of like done.
Yeah.
The speed was really of the essence, and I'm gonna reference it a bit here. You're familiar with the South Park episode where they realised that Simpsons have done everything already?
Yes.
It was like that, but our last night.
Okay.
So we were just like, we've got to get this cover done before our last night do and get it online. So yeah, we booked some studio time without necessarily knowing what it was that we were going to record.
Okay.
But we thought, right, we'll record. We booked this time in. We thought we'll just go and we'll do a cover just for, kind of just for the fun of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But equally, just to, when our EP was out, it was summertime, just to have more stuff to put out for people, and people were really, people have really enjoyed it. I know something I found really funny was, when the song came out, seeing people taking clips of the song being played in like club nights and things, which kind of going from previous bands and so on. So it's not something that I'd ever personally had. So it was a really fun experience all in all.
Nice.
Definitely. There was something I remember very specific I just want to add as well, is talking about the Our Last Night. I remember the day before we were dropping the video for it, Our Last Night put out a thing saying, we've got a new cover tomorrow, can you guess what it is? And somebody commented, Taylor Swift, me. And I was shitting my pants.
Yeah, that's one way to get your cover buried is with Our Last Night, crack onto it 24 hours before you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's good work. I mean, if I was able to DJ my nightclub, I DJ regular rock clubs in my area of the world, and I would be playing that song, to be honest with you, because I do like to play my odd pop punk cover and stuff like that. I've got like Killing Moon's You Ought to Know, that's been going down recently quite well because of Alanis Morissette's like 25th or 20th anniversary of that album and stuff like that, and various others from various other bands and things like that. And when I was in a band, we did a few covers ourselves, so I know exactly how that process works. You want to try and get them out as soon as possible. But then you end up stuck with them for a long time as well, just to give you a warning.
Yes. That's something we were careful of. We as much as we enjoy doing this kind of thing, we don't necessarily want to be known as a band that does, we don't want people expecting covers all the time. I mean, sure, we'll do lots of different things, but that's just one of them. Yeah, no, it's one of the traps that my band sort of fell into. We covered Gay Bar, the Electric Six classic, but we got in there again before it was kind of big, like before they were called Electric Six. I can't remember what they were called before that, but they had this song and it's kind of bare bones, and my singer found it and we decided to sort of like cover it, and then when we released it, they released theirs at the same time, and it was really weird, but it got so much traction, it was just bizarre. But yeah, and then we ended up having to play it every show, but it was only like 2 minutes, so it didn't really impact too much on that front. But yeah, you kind of get known as, you're the Gay Bar band, and you really got to pick your moments with that.
You do. But yeah, what I was going to go on to next, like kind of like before we talk about your new stuff, is what sort of like influences you guys, because from listening to you, I hear a lot of the sort of I mean, if you don't mind me naming bands, but things like Yellow Card, Atari, Starting Line, State Champs, 28 Days, Newfound Glory, stuff like that. And just to sort of reel off a whole bunch of bands. But I was just sort of like, because obviously, you said you started off sort of like metal bands and stuff like that. Where does your sort of like influences lie when it comes to Royals?
You said State Champs and it made me happy.
Okay, good.
No, I mean, like if we go back, I mean, I don't know what it's like to Lewis. There's probably some similarities. I mean, when I was growing up and I first got into rock and alternative and metal music, the first couple of bands before I progressed to metal were bands like Fall Out Boy, Paramore, You Me at Six, All Time Low, Yellow Card, obviously Blink, and all those sorts of bands. And some of the ones you mentioned there. Then I really got into metal and kind of stopped listening to that music. And then when I got back into it and started this, like State Champs were one of the biggest bands for me. Like I'm constantly listening to them, so they definitely play some influence.
Cool. As
well as all of the older bands I used to listen to when it comes to musical, sort of like writing the music. And then I'm sure Lewis probably has more to say when it comes to like lyrics and stuff.
Yeah. So like because I do I'll probably say me and Luke are about 50-50 on the lyrics between one thing and another, but a lot of my kind of inspiration from there comes from all different places. I like a really wide range and listen to a wide range of stuff, and it tends to be music that is quite lyrical. So that could be, you know, like bands within sort of quote unquote pop punk that I really like at the moment, especially with our new stuff like Grayscale. Waterparks have inspired a fair bit, but then even going into like hip hop and trap and artists like that. So Luke and I probably never shut up about Lil Peep, but he's still one of my favorite artists of all time. And I think what I think is interesting is being able to bring different things from all of these genres to try and make something that is sort of new in its own way.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I can hear a bunch of stuff, and a lot of the stuff you're mentioning right there, I can attain to hearing in your music. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to what you're doing now.
I love it. It's my favorite bit.
Yeah. So you released you're releasing a new single. As of talking right now, it is out on the 24th.
Yes.
Is that still the plan?
That is still the plan.
Good.
Yeah, I mean,
good, because I've had a few bands that have ducked out on their plans.
No, the plan, like coronavirus ain't stopping us. The plans are full steam ahead. We've got a new music video coming out for the song, and then obviously, and the song itself will be out on the 24th.
Cool.
So yeah, I mean, really, really kind of excited to share that with you.
No,
and the world.
It's really cool. I mean, like, obviously, you've got a kind of you're not like previewing it until the 24th. As such, I don't know if anyone has anyone played it out yet? You getting no,
it's not been played out publicly.
Okay, cool. Excellent. Right,
all
cool.
under wraps.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well, it'll be revealed all on the 24th, which is, as of speaking, is that
3 days from now?
3 days from now.
We are Tuesday, like this Friday.
It's this coming Friday.
So for the people listening, this is going to come out afterwards. So it's already out. It's been fantastic. But no, I was listening to it. It's really cool. It's got a few more sort of layers to it than your previous stuff. Obviously, you've kind of got that like pop punk vibe and stuff, but it's got a few more sort of what was the word I was looking for? I didn't even.
We've got a lot more sort of synth and production elements to it.
There is that, yeah, and there's like a few more sort of like catchy hooks and stuff like that in there as well.
Oh, cheers, man! I think with these songs that we've written, yes, there is more than one coming. With the new music that is recording and is currently being written as well, there's a lot more thought process going into it, and when it comes to the writing, when it comes to the lyrics, writing the music and writing the lyrics, and also a big part of it was we have worked with some new people on these tracks.
Yeah, I was going to say you had the guy, you had Seb from Neck Deep, in fact,
yes,
as your producer. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what I was sort of going to bring on to, because obviously you worked with Matt before, and now you're working with this gentleman as well. So what was that like?
Oh, the whole process was really good. Seb's very he was very I would say he was hands on. I know you were saying earlier on about Matt being like you being told. I would say Seb was quite hands on. He likes to get in, listen to the track, make some suggestions. Obviously, it's all down to us to make those decisions, but he likes to make suggestions, and he works hard. We work long days with him. And the thing that I really liked about Seb that would make me want to go back to him is the way he works is not like anything I've seen before. He would record your guitars, your bass, your vocals and everything first, and do the drums last. And what that meant is, as we're recording and writing, we have the room to change things. Whereas once you've recorded the drums in and you're recording to a drum track, there's no room to move stuff about.
Yeah.
So the way it worked is we go in there, he looks at the song, he puts down a sample drum track for us to record to, and then we're moving bits as we go. Okay. So that definitely helped play a part in sort of shaping the songs to really shine.
Yeah, no, it's a definite change in that sort of like production style and things like that. The songwriting obviously is still there, like you're sort of like what you've established already is into your sort of like style of things. And what can people expect from the rest of the songs that you're releasing from? Obviously, we've got the one Out of Reach coming out. And that's obviously, like I said, that's a fine track. I've heard it. No one else has heard it at this point, apart from you guys and anyone else you may have, like any other person in the press. But what can we expect from this next release?
Well, I think from hopefully if people have heard Out of Reach at this point, they will have heard that it's bigger choruses, it's catchier hooks, it's more production, it's a more kind of modern pop punk sound, and that's something that we're only sort of exploring more as we write new material. Part of the reason that we did work with Seb is because he within sort of the modern pop punk scene, he's worked with so many bands. If you think about like Woes and Waster, and he's done a huge amount. Although he's only just technically officially joined Neck Deep, had been really involved with their process before then anyway. So he has had this wealth of experience. So he's really helped bring a lot of that out in us. So that's really what we're working towards. Just bigger and better everything with the new music.
Cool. And is it an EP you're planning to release on this, or is it actually a full long player?
We're going a bit. I think we're going a bit different.
Okay.
What our plan is rather than releasing an EP, listeners may know so much of releasing music now is about streaming, and about Spotify and about Apple Music and all of these things. So rather than releasing an EP, our plan is that we will be releasing songs sort of periodically over the next year.
Okay.
And all of them being singles that sort of comes together as an EP at the end.
Right.
But for the time being, what it means is that we can kind of put 100% focus on making sure that every song is as good as possible. It gets as much exposure, and then at the end there is still that kind of that record to show for it. Cool.
I mean, that's a solid plan. It's actually a plan of one of my a label I work with. I say work with. I was sort of doing a little bits here and there for them, but they release stuff every week on the streaming services. Because they have a roster of bands that can do that, but they also do like remixes and all that kind of stuff of the tracks. But they go through and they've sort of like figured out the system when it comes to streaming, on how to maximize their sort of like obviously streaming and revenue as well, on top of like physical release, which is all fine. Obviously, right now releasing stuff isn't really a viable prospect, just due to the fucking pandemic, but but no, that's a solid strategy when it comes to like doing stuff. Are you planning? How many songs are you planning to kind of release? Do you know?
So I mean, as it speaks at the moment, there are 4 songs, including Out of Reach, that we're looking to release over the course of sort of this year.
Cool.
There's more being written, but as only as sort of time goes on will we know how much more there's going to be. But for this year, we can expect a minimum of 4 songs.
Cool. And I know you've done video for this one coming out right now. Are you planning to try and do videos for the other ones as well?
It's a tough question, really, isn't it?
It is. I was just, as I was asking it, I was realising again.
We were very lucky in the fact that we recorded the video for Out of Reach about a week before lockdown really sort of came into play. So we got in lucky there. I think if we're going to do another video for one of the songs, it will be something where we can try and get the community involved. Whether it be we ask people sending clips of them holding up lyrics or singing along or just doing something fun.
Yeah,
that's maybe on the cards. We have a song that kind of relates a little bit to the current situation that's going on in the world. So maybe, but as it stands, we're not 100% sure.
Yeah,
a bit of a watch this space kind of situation.
Yeah,
we just have to see how things kind of figure out. But we'll always try our best to make something fun and interesting.
Excellent. No, I think like a community-based video is a good idea at the moment, because I've sort of seen a few artists sort of like starting to do that sort of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And some of the sort of like what they're getting out of it is really good, because it's sort of involving everyone, and and it reminds me of the Feeder video. From absolutely years ago, and a couple of my sort of like friends and friends of friends were in that at the time, which was massive, because that wasn't really that that was before all these video sites that have kind of popped up. So
anyone could grab their phone out and film a video clip and put it online.
Exactly. There was nothing to mime along to on TikTok, or TikTok didn't even exist. TikTok was a clock. I feel old. Got to avoid saying stuff like that.
Back in the day when TikTok meant Kesha.
Exactly. I go back before that when it meant cuckoo clocks. So
you're really dating yourself.
I know. It's really bad. But I've got children who have TikTok accounts, so they love doing that sort of stuff. So it's all good. You say that when they start walking around and start just pulling dance moves everywhere. It's okay. It's like they're having a fit or something, aren't they? But
why do they listen? Christ.
No, they don't listen. They're too young. It's fine. So obviously this is it's quite a loaded question because not a lot of people would know already. But what are your plans post pandemic? Bit of a triple P question there, I think. Do you have anything set, ready to go at the moment? Like hopefully when this thing passes.
I mean, we've kind of held off sort of booking shows and things as such, but we have recently started working with a new guy for booking.
Okay.
He's now joined on to the management that we work with, so he basically will be booking shows for us. But at the moment, we want to hold off. We don't want to book anything that's just going to get cancelled. Yeah. We had a run of shows booked, which for June, which have just been pulled as well. So it's we don't really want to have to keep doing that.
Yeah.
It's had a few bits in the works here and there, sort of through the coming months. That before this, they were sort of in the finalisation stage and just ended up just completely falling through. So
okay.
We I suppose we take it as it comes.
Yeah.
See what happens, but in terms of releasing new music, we're set.
Yeah,
that won't stop.
We're still full steam ahead for this year.
No, that's good. That's the most important thing at this sort of time is sort of releasing stuff for people to listen to.
Well, that's it. I think with the music industry, it's always changing, and we've got to adapt. And I think with the pandemic we're going through, we have to adapt again, and that means not playing shows, but trying to find another creative outlet we can still interact with people through.
Yeah.
So, releasing music and videos, and even we're looking at, how we can start doing some live streams, or if we can do some sort of a live performance from, our bedrooms.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna make that work if we can.
Yeah. No, I've been particularly enjoying Goldfinger's. I don't know if you've seen any of those.
Yeah.
The sort of live performance they've done, and they did the Superman track, and I was like, oh my god! And then I just started playing Tony Hawk's for hours after that.
Dropkick Murphys did a great one, I think, when they first came out. That was pretty great.
Yeah, no, it's very good. It's very good. So yeah, no, I look forward to seeing that if you guys end up figuring that out and everything. That'll be all cool. So what I've got now, I've got a couple of, these are my generic questions, if you will. But they go out to each of you. So it's an answer individually because it is more about yourselves rather than the group itself. But what I want to know, if you have listened to my show before, you know what these are. But if you haven't, what are your 3 top albums that have really sort of shaped the musician or the person that you are today? So the ones that are real pivotal, the ones that made you pick up a guitar, ones that made you want to sing, stuff like that. What are those sort of 3 albums?
That's such a tough question, but I like it. Probably think of a couple. I mean, Lewis, do you want to go first? I'm still thinking.
Yeah, you see, I was prepared for this question.
Oh,
so,
lovely.
well, make me look bad because I haven't listened to the show. Now I feel bad.
That was a total lie. I'm just going to wing it on the spot. No, 3 albums. So, just to kind of go over a wide range of stuff. I think there's always been those few albums for me that. There's always those albums when you listen to them and you're just like, holy fuck, what is this? That kind of change your that kind of change your way of thinking about music. And the first and most obvious one, and people can hate on it all they want, My Chemical Romance, The Black Parade.
Okay.
It almost felt like a cultural revolution at the time. It was like Pokemon Go summer, but for music.
Yeah.
It was you could almost feel the change. That came out when I must have been about 11 or 12 maybe. And it just sort of introduced me into a whole new world of music at that time. So sort of the sort of music that did have a bit more aggression to it.
Yeah.
Sort of heavier bands. Moving forwards, as I sort of got more into playing in bands. And this to this day is still my favourite album of all time, is Silverstein, This Is How the Wind Shifts.
Cool.
Apart from just being a great band, it's an album with a great story, and it was very important to me at a sort of difficult time a few years back, so that one's always stuck with me.
Cool.
And then as a third, absolutely is Lil Peep, Come Over When You're Sober Part 1.
Okay.
Again, he was one of the first artists that I listened to that managed to fuse kind of the emo rock sound with trap, but do it really well and have amazing lyrics and songwriting. So those were three that like really kind of changed my whole. So I can very much see like a before and after those albums.
Yeah, cool, excellent, good choices.
I like that. Yeah. I've had some time to think.
Excellent.
I'm probably not quite going to be able to go in quite as in depth as Lewis, but
I think about things.
Yeah, you do. Whether that's for good or bad, who knows? I think it's only right to kind of pick some albums that like helped shape me as a musician and as a person. So like going back to when I first got into music, I'd say one of the first albums that I remember wanting to learn on guitar and stuff was Fall Out Boys From Under the Cork Tree.
Cool.
That was a good one for me. All Time Low's Nothing Personal. That was sort of similar era, but that was kind of what bridged me into the slightly more poppier side of pop punk. And then something more current that I listen to, like that I would never get bored of, is State Champs Around the World and Back Again. Just would never get bored of that album. So those three albums are kind of like me as a musician.
Excellent. Cool. Well, thank you for that, guys. Last question. What are your hobbies away from music? So when you're not doing stuff with Royals and whatnot, like obviously right now when things are a little bit weird and you're stuck at home, what do you do as a sort of like that's not music?
Wanking doesn't count as a hobby, Luke.
Well, that's good then. I wasn't going to use it.
It's a profession. It's all right.
Sorry. Feel free to cut that out, by the way. Just couldn't help it.
Nope.
Yeah. Sorry, Mum. Outside of it, I need to think of an answer.
Lewis is like, I'm actually a very boring person. No, do you want me to go first, Lewis?
Yeah, shoot.
I only really have a couple of hobbies. I mean, I like video gaming a lot. I mean, like most guys do, to be honest. So play a bit of PlayStation and stuff in my spare time. It's not really outside of music, but outside of Royals, I'm full into music. I've got a little home studio set up, and I'm working on a business at the moment because I want to sort of get into producing bands and things.
Yeah.
So like songwriting and music and producing is kind of like my main thing I do in all my spare time, whether it's Royals related or not. And other than that, I just, I like spending time. I've got my wife and our dogs and stuff. I just like to spend time with them. A bit of a movie geek. Love like my Marvel movies and stuff.
Nice.
So just like to just watch some movies, go out, do some adventuring and stuff. It's kind of me, really.
Well, what's your favourite movie?
Oh, my favourite movie. That's a big question. I actually, I don't think I can answer that off the top of my head. It would
give me your top three.
The thing is, I'm
not in any specific order. Just give me three.
Okay. Right. Top three. I don't know. They're all going to be Marvel related because I'm a massive geek.
That's fine.
Probably the latest Avengers movie.
Cool.
Because I'm a geek, as I said. I tell you, I'm going to choose some different genres. For comedy, I'd go for Anchorman.
Cool.
I really like that movie. And what else we got? I'm trying to not just choose three Marvel movies here.
What's your favourite horror film, Luke?
My favourite horror film?
Sorry, I'm just going to start asking the questions now.
Yeah, that's fine. You can take over. It's fine.
Favourite horror film? Do you know what? Like, I don't see. I probably watch more horror series than I do film. I say that I don't like horror. I've watched American Horror Story, and that's not even scary.
No, more like American, slightly creepy story.
Yeah, no, I can't really do horror. I'm not too sure.
Okay, that's all right. No, I used to work in a video shop when they used to, when people used to rent videos. Again, this is dating me completely. So that's why I'm always interested to hear people's like favorite movies and stuff, because it was just something I used to talk about with people all the time, and you know, Anchorman's a fantastic film. I absolutely love that.
I love that. It's just one of the funniest. I remember, was it when we were on tour, Lewis, with Gone by Tomorrow? I feel like we were on tour with Gone by Tomorrow, probably like 2014 or something, and we had TVs in the van and an Xbox, and I feel like we just watched Anchorman.
I was probably drunk at the time.
Yeah, like
was this before or after I broke the chair?
Oh my god! Right, okay, completely off topic, but this needs to go in here. So we're
I was going to elaborate on that.
The Highlands of Scotland.
Lovely.
Yeah, I'm just going to elaborate on this. So we're in the middle of Scotland. We're driving, and we've just loaded into the van after the show, and we've all had a few drinks. And I thought it would be really funny if Lewis ran alongside the van and jump into the van as we were moving, like proper like James Bond type thing. Yes. And so he jumps in, and as he jumps in, he snaps the arm off of this guy's lush van. It's like really high-end, expensive, like Mercedes Sprinter van, all kitted out.
Yeah.
And he snapped it off, and in the end, Lewis had to pay the guy, didn't he?
Yeah, I did. And I'm just going to have to put this out there. You say you were sort of driving with me jumping in. It literally just looked like you were driving away and leaving me at the venue. So I ran and jumped in with so much force that it was just an inevitability. It was just going to happen. But it was fun. I don't regret it.
No, that's good. That's good. Do you remember how much it cost you?
Oh, at least
it was like 100 quid, wasn't it?
75, 100 quid maybe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Amazing how much those things cost.
Yep. I've reconsidered about the hobby situation. By the way, I've decided that wanking actually does count.
Okay,
because that's all I've got. No.
Okay.
No,
remind me not to shake hands with you ever.
Well, since the Rona, we're not going to be shaking hands with anybody.
No, we're not. We're not.
No, my actual. To be quite honest, like between work and the stuff that we do for the band, it does take up a lot of stuff, but a lot of time. But yeah, there's a lot of video. So watch a lot of YouTube and Twitch, and just sort of trying to figure out a lot of these kind of platforms, because it's something that I'm interested in kind of how we can use them in the future.
Yeah.
So I do spend a lot of time just sort of observing and kind of figuring out how we can make use of them in the future.
Yeah. No, I've been trying to figure out Twitch recently. To be honest, I got a channel set up.
Sure.
But I'm planning doing, as of talking right now, I would have done one decent live set on there. That's going out tomorrow night. But yeah, no, I'm just trying to figure that out at the moment, like running it from my phone, working out overlays, all that kind of stuff, which is like, you know, seems to run into it a little bit. I've got the like sound and everything. I'm just running it off one of my phones. So
yeah, we're trying to figure that out as well for doing some stuff, but no dice so far.
It seems that you cannot sort of do multiple like people streaming unless you're like a Twitch partner, and that can be a bit of a pain.
Yes, yeah, no, definitely. There was something actually. One of my friends actually found something for DJs they were using. It's called Tiny Chat.
Okay.
And you apparently can have unlimited streams or unlimited like people on. I've only logged onto it once, and that was because I'm part of a community of scratch DJs, and they were looking for something for like, you know, groups to sort of get together and just sort of like, you know, scratch over beats and talk DJ stuff. But it's a video and like audio site. Trying to look it up on here, trying to find it exactly what it is. That might be useful for you. There's an app for it and everything, which I've got on my phone. But yeah, it seems to be like this. I don't think this person's like signed up for any like, you know, like extra bits or whatever, like, you know, tiered programs or whatever, anything like that. But it's just like, it seems to be like one of those sort of like chat programs. But they're using it for music and stuff, and they've had like 30 or 40 DJs on it at one night. Not all going at the same time, mind you, because that would have been a nightmare. But
just a mess.
Yeah, just a mess of noise. But no, that seems to be something you could probably do. And as a sort of like admin of the room, you can like allow people's cameras or not, or allow people to chat or not, or use audio and stuff like that. So you do have full kind of control over it, and it's not like WebEx or anything like that, where it's kind of more business use.
Oh, cool.
Sounds like could be worth a look into.
But have a look at that, because obviously, there is Twitch and stuff, but like you say, you have to be like a Prime member or whatever to unlock a lot of the sort of features and things like that. So, but yeah, cool. Well, yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you. And I really appreciate your time and everything, and good luck with your music. Obviously I'll be keeping an eye on it and seeing Lewis, and then one day he'll leave work and go off on tour.
He will. I'll be taking him from you. Thank you.
It's like his dad come to pick his kid up from school. We're going out to play.
Be back in 3 weeks.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having us on, mate. Really appreciate it.
No worries. Well, like I said, guys, good luck on Friday with the new song, and I hope it does you well.
Thank you very much.
Cool. All right, you guys have a good rest of your day. All right.
Yeah, take care of yourself.
Thank you very much, man.
And stay away from Corona.
I'll try.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
Bye.